I think Bangalore has the numero uno strength for the simple reason that it's taken the lead and there is no stopping it. Now there are 253 different industries that are dependent. When you talk of materials, when you talk of cements, when you talk of wood, next 8-10 years, like I said, belong to a super growth phase story of India, and we are just blessed to be a part of that. If you talk of Bombay and Delhi, you have a rich colony, a rich place, and you have a slum next door, and a rich place and a slum next door, and those kinds of growths. Show me one in that.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Season 2 of Simplifying Real Estate, a podcast series by Uniturn. We are thrilled to bring you back this season, wherein we speak to seasoned developers and industry experts to find out what it takes to be successful in this very dynamic field of real estate. Today, we truly have a remarkable guest. We have Samir Arora. He's the CEO and founder of Huts Global, an award winning real estate advisory and consulting firm. He also is the president and chairman of CREA, the Confederation of Real Estate Associates, one of the largest realtors associations in India. He's also been the immediate past president of NAR, the National Association of Realtors. So, a realtor all the way, but he's much more than that. In his own words, Samir is a speaker, an author, a mentor, an influencer, and a realtor. He's an avid traveler, has traveled to more than 60 countries.
God has been kind, yes.
Yes, and is also driven by passion, believes in the magic of dreams. For all those people who know Samir, he also has a truly remarkable sense of humor. He writes under the hashtag of the Li Lama, which are hilarious anecdotes that not only entertains but also inspires. Samir, we are truly honored to have you as our guest. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Rekha. And I must say, this is, I suddenly felt I must be a good guy hearing all that introduction. So,
Absolutely,
but yeah,
absolutely.
God has been kind. It's been a great journey, and I'm so blessed and happy to be sharing my knowledge via various forums, and happy to be here doing the same with you. Absolutely, thank you so much for inviting me over.
Thank you. Let's go to the first question.
Yeah, sure.
My first question to you is: real estate is a fast moving and competitive industry. In your experience, what makes it an exciting space to work in, especially in a dynamic city like Bangalore?
Lovely question to begin a podcast, and we all love our Nama Bengaluru. And
Absolutely.
like you said, fast paced, developing at the rate of knots.
Yes.
Um I keep saying the real estate development part of it is absolutely exhilarating here, and it's like the Bangalore traffic. And I think the only thing that I know that has grown faster than Bangalore over the last many years is really my to-do list and nothing else. While I say that on a lighter note, the fact of life is the Y2K happened, prior to
Mm,
which this was the peaceful pensioners' paradise
absolutely.
from the British hub point of times. And from there till now, the 20-24 years that we are talking about, including the little break in pandemic times, the population of Bangalore has grown from a 18-19 lakhs to a 1.45 crores, which is a seven and a half times. Now, the statistic hits a lot more when you realize that no other city in the world in the same period or at any other point of time has grown that fast. 7 times in 20 years. Now, obviously, the infrastructure sometimes hasn't kept pace with it. It's exciting for us to blame the government and the governmental authorities for that, but I think it's not an easy task, and some bit of a pace catching is happening. However, the real estate landscape has absolutely grown fabulously, and it grew all around the IT infrastructure, and then your services industry that came around the IT infrastructure, and the other ancillary industries that came up. So, whether it's from a young professional to a family to an entrepreneur to an industrialist, Bangalore is about one of the only places where it has space for affordable housing, mid segment, the larger residential, and then the super luxury as it's getting defined today. And Bangalore is a mix of all of it. On the residential side, obviously, this whole growth comes with the commercial and the co living and everything, and proportionately the lands, farmlands. So the gambit of real estate has grown absolutely beautifully. And being a circular city, it grows on the suburbs continuously. So I think it's exciting to be a part of the real estate ecospace of Bangalore.
Absolutely. I mean, so well said because, from Bangalore being a garden city and it's more to now become the Silicon Valley of India. And truly, it is so diverse and inclusive as a city, which meant that,
It
the population has grown so much. And
it truly is, and it's mesmerizing to hear in real estate. Ring road, inner ring road was available at 2,000 or a 3,000 rupees a square feet, and I didn't buy it. You hear so many people say it.
always,
And then the outer ring road came up, and now the peripheral ring road is coming up, and the metros are taking shape, and the whole cityscape is changing hugely. One airport comes, the decision happens to be in North Bangalore, and the whole development shifts that
shifts
side.
that.
And yet nothing can take away from the development that's already happened in East Bangalore, and it continues to grow at the pace of North. I'm talking of the Sarjapurs and the Whitefields, or the IT Silicon Valley belt, as you're talking of. But overall, I think it's a very inclusive culture of the city. The weather, the climate, the productivity, all of it has taken the lead, and there is no stopping it.
Absolutely. And so many product categories too, right? I mean, to say that, as you were saying, the affordable city, affordable, housing to the luxury villas and the super luxury, the plotted developments, farmlands. I think the kind of categories that you have when it comes to real estate, I don't think a Bombay can, do justice to that. I mean, Bangalore offers you more of,
Yes. So I would put it this way. You look at DLF and you say 100 crore apartment sold
hmm,
in Gurgaon. You look at Bombay, you look at the Lodas, and you look at some of the real top luxury living. The highest luxury may go to these cities. Okay,
right.
in exceptional cases and very few. You could count the numbers. May not be on your fingertips, but within hundreds. Okay, but if you talk of average luxury,
Hmm.
okay, which is where Bangalore has taken a massive lead. You know, if you just take the when we talk of a IT ecospace that we are talking of, I think one of the biggest things that we don't talk enough about Bangalore is that it's a startup capital of the country.
So
Okay,
true.
and all your major unicorns of late have come from Bangalore, basically. So if you include the total number of riches in the luxury field, and each one of them needs a great space to live in, especially post pandemic, things have populated a lot, which is where Bangalore scores very hugely. Gated layouts, communities with not just securities but with all kinds of amenities. We have complexes or gated communities in Bangalore today which could compare to the best in the US. And there is no other city which has that many number of communities as Bangalore has. That's a reflection. Also, if you talk of Bombay and Delhi, you have a rich colony, a rich place, and you have a slum next door, and a rich place and a slum next door, and those kinds of growths. Show me one in Bangalore, which is where it's a very sustainable growth that Bangalore has been going on. Being the IT industry, being the way the whole industry has grown in terms of the capital funding which is possible out of the larger salaries, larger loans, and all of those things, it makes it probably the cleanest real estate also in the country.
So wonderfully said. Um, with so much of demand and supply, let's talk about the developer challenges, right from the land acquisitions to the regulatory approvals. What do you think the developers must do to kind of, address all these challenges and yet be focused on, doing what they do best?
Very interesting question, and I would just like to say, whether it's a developer, whether it's a realtor, or whether it's a industry stakeholder, once they decide to be a part of real estate, it's like getting married, and challenges are going to be a part of your life, and you better get used to it. Having said that, I think there is a beautiful connotation that I found out over the years, is collaboration. And collaboration, I say most industries will have competition. Some industries will have collaboration. Real estate is probably the only industry where you collaborate with the competitor, whether it's developers, whether it's realtors, whether it's other industry stakeholders. So yeah, challenges are huge and humongous. I say this very fondly, that sometimes the fallacies on real estate get highlighted very hugely, and some other industries don't get highlighted that way, in terms of developers going wrong or something else happening, purely because the home buying is a very emotional
Absolutely.
purchase, and that's where there are tremendous amount of emotions attached to it, right? And which is why I would say it's one of the highest responsibility industries. Okay, unfortunately, the 2% or 3% that don't do it right gets highlighted very hugely. Now, most important part that you need to look at it is, we've evolved. While we talk of RERA, making a law in India versus implementing a law in India are two different things. The laws on the traffic exist for a huge amount of time, but 9 out of 10 Indians would still jump a red light post 12 o'clock if there is no cop around. Let's face facts. Now, truly speaking, RERA implementation, or for that matter, any legislative implementation, takes time and builds up until we become a society which is self disciplined, right? Now, developers have had to face regulatory issues. Developers have had to face the pricing challenges, and the material challenges, and the import challenges. They have had to face land acquisition challenges, and the norms are absolutely not stabilized even till now. If you see state to state also, they vary so highly that sometimes it's extremely difficult. And then, more importantly, construction norms, industry norms, marketing norms, all of it. But I would say we made progress by leaps and bounds since 2016, is what I would say. Your GST figured in, your RERA came in,
Came
your NBFC fundings went through a massive amount of issue. Uh, a lot of changes have transpired. But today, there is enough voice in the industry. Now, I say this while everybody will talk about, by 2047 we are a 50 trillion economy, and we are a 5 trillion economy by 2030, and real estate is going to be 20% of the GDP or 18%. I'm just saying one line, that we have never been so strongly placed geopolitically ever, industrially ever. The real estate is definitely bound to play a huge role in the growth of this country. Now, whether we hit those numbers or not, the fact remains that the next 8 to 10 years belong to India, belong to India's growth story, and it will belong to real estate and infrastructure growth. So challenges are going to be a part and parcel of our forte. Consumers face challenges, developers face challenges, realtors face challenges. But today, we all have a more or less a unified voices,
true.
and we are all creating platforms. And I think technology is going to play a great role in reducing these differential issues that cause these problems, and create a platform for the whole country to take on a leap and growth. Simply put, Rekha, whether it's a IT company, whether it's a manufacturing setup, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's warehousing, whether it's hospitals and hospitality industry and the hotels, anything you talk of, or a home. You know, nothing can exist without real estate.
So true. You're talking about technology. I want to go back to one more question, but let's talk about technology. I mean, it's hitting every day, every industry, and PropTech is big too.
True.
What, in your opinion, are can be two biggest innovations in technology that will have the most positive impact in real estate?
Can I start on a lighter note so that
Of
it doesn't go
course,
serious?
always.
Everybody is saying we're scared of AI, as to artificial intelligence, as to what it is doing. And I tell them AI has still not even touched 0.1% of my wife's intelligence. So we are still very, very safe. But why do I say that? AI is probably the bracket that we're talking of. But whether you talk of digital marketing, and the digital platforms taking over, whether you talk of CRM systems and stuff in terms of technology which are really helping, you talk of data analytics, and I think that has got to become the point, for whether it's for the pricing for the builders, whether it's for land acquisition, whether it's for organization. You could talk of things like a 3D printing, taking over and being the disruptor. And as they say in technology, disruption hurts only if you are not the one disrupting. But truly speaking, technology has to be an inherent part of our lifestyles now.
True.
While it's taken over our lives on all fronts, real estate cannot escape it, right? But technology, as rightly said, as long as you use it like a tool, you use it towards the positive advantages, it's going to play a phenomenal role. I read somewhere, and I really loved it, saying if you're not on the first page of Google, you're dead. you know and today, on you talked about me being on social media or having a little fun. I still remember that about 4 days I didn't post anything, and an old college mate of mine called me and asked me, zinda hai ki mar gaya? So I think that's where the whole medium has become. We are interacting to people we know, people who we hardly know, and people whom we don't know, through a lot of social mediums. I think things will keep evolving, but technology in real estate, whether it's for construction, whether it's for organization, whether it's for building, whether it's for marketing, is going to play a huge, huge integrated role. And until unless we integrate it into our lifestyles, into our daily work routines, and make the best out of it, I don't think we'll. In fact, I would put it. I keep saying this: the organized will continue to grow hugely, the unorganized will vanish. And one of the key components of an organized structure, whether it's a one-man army company, or whether it's a 200 people realtor marketing company, or it's an IPC, or it's a large developer, small developer to a large developer, it's the organized structure and the technology implementation in the company, starting from the smallest thing like a CRM, to digital platforms, to going up to large innovations and adaptation, including AI, is going to be a part of it. And trust me, the biggest disruptions will keep coming from technology.
So true. So true. And technology is definitely an enabler,
It is.
always it
It
is.
absolutely is. Yeah.
Right. We were talking about challenges.
However, Rekha, I remember some brokers asking me, saying, will technology take over our business? And I said, till the day my smartphone is able to sell apartments and I can sit on the beach, we will be required in the industry forever till that
And
happens.
also, like especially in India, I feel that roti kapda makan is like still the and जब घर खरीदना हो, home buying is such a soulful experience for each most of us. And till such time you can actually visualize, go show, see a lot of things on your computer screen and make that decision. But I think the final decision will be made only on the site, wherein you really go there and feel and
So I'll put it very simply.
हाँ
Roti kahan banaoge?
घर पे
कपड़े कहाँ चेंज करोगे?
घर
घर
पे।
पे। समटाइम्स आउटसाइड, बट मोस्टली घर पे, राइट? और जहाँ चेंज करोगे, वेदर इट्स अ होटल, वेदर इट्स एनीवेयर, इट्स इवेंचुअली रियल एस्टेट.
Right.
So मकान, I say things run only on two things: makan and dukan. Okay, and real estate is the crucial part of it. Truly speaking, I would say, for all its worst forms that pandemic gave us, it gave us one good thing. For that whole period of lockdowns and subsequently and a second lockdown and stuff, in that 1 year, what was the maximum term used? Stay safe, stay home.
Right.
I personally feel in last 100 150 years, a home has never been advertised as much as it got advertised in pandemic.
True.
When people said, I'm actually on record on one of the webinars where I said, real estate is going to come back like a gangbuster, purely because we are talking about homes so much. And you see what happened after the pandemic. The next 2.5 years, luxury, super luxury, everything else sold like a rocket. The growth has been so phenomenal, not just in India, but the world over, really. Okay. And with India's populations, with aspirations, with the change in dynamics, with the change in thought process, I think that roti kapda makan, that makan has become an extremely important part of the whole gambitry. And people are beginning to spend. They're spending a lot more on their homes. They're spending a lot more on their interiors,
Right.
and that's where the whole growth of the, not just the real estate sector, but the economy will boom accordingly. So yeah, I think we are in for, and I think the next 8 10 years, like I said, belong to a super growth phase story of India, and we are just blessed to be a part of the industry during this period.
True. Absolutely. During I think the lockdown time is the time when we actually felt the houses are becoming smaller. You need to really invest in bigger spaces. And especially post that, the hybrid culture came in. That meant that, a lot of people were actually working out of home at least twice a week. So you make it as well, make it a better place to be in. We were talking about challenges in of the real estate industry, and we spoke. You briefly mentioned collaboration, and I wanted to touch upon that. That as we are growing and the developers have a lot more on their plate in terms of managing the regulatory norms that the real estate brings in, the land acquisitions and all, but that is where probably strategic partnerships and specializations are going to come to play, wherein the collaboration and the partnerships will help them kind of focus on what they do their best. Your views on that?
Absolutely brilliant question. And I would put it this way: partnership, strategic partnership, key, inverted commas. It's the key to growth, especially in an industry where you are dependent on multiple industries for a product to take shape. Okay, so there is no further way without collaboration. For a developer to partner, the word itself, developer, means develop,
Yes.
builder means build,
Build.
and a marketeer means market. Now each one has to go into a niche specialization areas. I'm in my associations levels, I'm even beginning to talk to all our realtor friends, saying being a realtor or a broker alone is not sufficient. Okay, you have to do a niche specialization. Are you in residential? Are you in affordable housing? Are you in luxury segment? Are you in commercials? Are you in farmlands? Are you in warehousing and industrial parks? Each one of them is an absolute large specialization field. you know it's not the 12th class chemistry or biology we are doing. It's what you are expanding into your engineering. We very simply say software engineer, but if you talk to a software engineer, each one of them is sort of specializing into different kind of a coding, different kind of a specialization area. And that's happening at real estate same way. With the developer, the collaborations are extremely important. You got to be doing material sources, you got to be doing land sourcing, you got to be assembling all of that, you got to be doing the construction industry part of it, you got to impart technology into it, you got to handle the clients, and you got to provide the services. So the domain is so huge that until unless we do niche certifications, great knowledge courses, develop specialized areas, and then collaborate with others who are specialized in the other fields, the growth is going to be very, very limited. So, share and grow is going to be the mantra of life now, especially in the real estate industry. Now, there are 253 different industries that are dependent. When you talk of materials, when you talk of cements, when you talk of wood, when you talk of interiors, when you talk of architects, and these aligned services, as you call, 253 of them dependent on the real estate industry. So, there's a very large infrastructure moving around that. And until unless collaborations weave in, it is absolutely difficult for a large growth to happen. I ask people that in US, name the top 5 developers, and people fumble. People fumble because it's city based, it's this. It's amazing that realtors are national based
Mm.
and developers are localized there. Now, that's the key core thing that has happened, that the marketing people have focused on their marketing strengths and developers have focused on the development strength, really. And truly speaking, that is what is going to happen in India, not just between developers and realtors, but with every other industry. And that collaboration is going to be fantastic. There are developers in India today who have built such great channel partner networks
Mm.
that even before the launch of a project, truly speaking, 50% of the project is pre-sold kind of a thing. It's only on the official launch that the selling thing happens, but really it's all done pre-hand. And I think that's where the whole growth. Now, it's not just the collaboration between this. The government will have to become a large stakeholder and a player in this. The banks will have become, the financial institutions will have to come in. So the structuring of commercial transactions will become more and more complex. I already see it in lands today, that there is a landowner, there is a developer. Earlier, we would bring them together and then negotiate the prices, and you're done with it, and then the lawyer takes over. But truly speaking, now you got to become a funder, you got to get an investor, you got to get 3 4 people and commercially structure a complex transaction that works
True.
out. So collaboration is a absolute must. Strategic partnerships going forward are going to be key, and I think they will not just transgress states, but they will transgress countries, because there would be a lot of import infrastructure, or import and export infrastructure also, that will set up into the real estate industry.
Samir, you have been leading two major realtor bodies of India. The president of CREA right now, president and chairman, past president of NAR. How do you see these industry bodies shaping the future of real estate? Or maybe how do they influence real estate as a sector? And how do you see them shaping the future of real estate?
Lovely. Can I take a little more time
Yeah,
uh,
sure.
in answering this, because there is a they're very close to my heart.
Absolutely.
And while I take a little time, let me put it this way. Uh, Somebody asked me the other day, and I know I'm overshooting time. They said, "Why do you speak that much on stage or on the mic?" And I tell them I'm not allowed to speak at home, so I take out all the kasar while I'm here, and that's why I'm doing it. But coming to a more serious subject, when I got into real estate industry, a couple of things happened where it hit me very, very hard, that the respect quotient is missing for the realtor, even for the real estate developer in the industry. A banker coming and telling me, "Sir, your car loan is sanctioned, but I'm putting your old papers as an engineer, as an exporter, because that's easy for me to push in." And I remember I tore off that paper and I said, "I don't need your loan. I'll buy the car on my own, but I am proud to be a realtor." And some similar things happened, and which really inspired me to have, when you are doing anything as a voice on a collective platform like a real estate association, today CREDI, NAREDCO, or CREA, NAR India. Uh, all of them are association bodies which are a unified voice that can advocate policy with the government, that can do education and training programs, that can do, member grievance, and basically look at the growth of not just that professional body members, but of the industry as a whole. So it inspired me hugely at that point of time, and which is where, I fortunately got in touch with some of the key people who were starting these organizations. CREA was a new baby at that point of time when I joined them. Exactly 9 members when I joined CREA, and we went on to become about 350 companies on board. 350 companies with their staff and all would mean 4 or 5,000 people. Uh, NAR India today is about 50,000 odd in terms of strength, along with its associate members and stuff. But but I say this, in a country with the population of that we have, you have a minimum of 10 lakh brokers, organized ones. So we are still a very tiny fraction of what it could be. Okay, government advocacy on the policies. Who's listening to us? Real estate industry, after being the second largest employer in the country already, is not even awarded the industry status. The developers have to be fighting for it, right? The realtor bodies were not even recognized till RERA came in and put them as one of the stakeholders with terms and conditions, right? Now, while consumer protection is important, industry protection is equally important. And then there are interweaved issues like a developer not paying in time, or a grievance or a interbroker grievance and stuff, and which is where associations play a huge role. But the biggest role for me, besides the unified voice for political advocacy or the policy advocacy, is is the knowledge and education. The only reason we were not respected is because of the backgrounds. And somehow that whole phenomena was kept, that broker is that guy on the bike with the phone in hand with the 100 square feet office and running around. And also, if you don't know anything, you become a broker. Today, I have to be half a chartered accountant. I have to be half a lawyer. I have to be half an advocate. I have to be half a policy knower. I have to keep abreast of all the industry knowledge. And to do all that, I have to do multitude of courses. I have to invest in myself. I have to take licenses. I have to train people. And when I use the word I'm representing every broker here. So point here is, those were the inspirations that made me join the associations, rake up the voice. Uh, also jokingly keep saying there are two types of realtors in this world: one who make a lot of money and are hugely successful, second, who become leaders like me. So that's where the roles and responsibilities landed on me. But that's on the lighter sense. But jokes apart, it's probably been one of the most beautiful journeys of my life. You know, climbing up the ranks of roles, it's not just the designations and responsibilities that come to you. I've represented NAR India as the chairman for foreign affairs, which is representing at the NAR US, NAR Global on the terms, and picking up best practices from organizations worldwide, associations worldwide, bringing into it. Just very recently at NAR India, we have launched the Code of Conduct and Code of Ethics and made it mandatory. And it's our dream to see that every broker, every agent, every realtor in this country is first trained on Code of Ethics and Code of Conduct. And once you are, everybody talks of transparency, everybody talks of trust, everybody talks of ethics, but we probably started this podcast by saying home buying is an emotional decision, and which is where the trust betrayal is felt by people even more badly, right? And which is where we need to build a knowledgeable team, but also extremely trustworthy industry, transparent industry, which will happen with all these both basic education, higher education, and code of conduct and ethics. And I think that's what we are working at on multitude of factors at these associations. And I think I'm just blessed to be leading these associations for all the love and affection. I would put it this way: there are close to 1,000 realtors with whom I've had a coffee or a drink or a dinner at some point of time or the other. Now that's investment of time and effort into relationships, and it also transpires into a lot of business. So really speaking, it's been a win-win scenario at all points of time. And I'm very inspired to continue to give to the industry and the organization that has given me so much.
Yeah, and I think these bodies actually bringing, as you say, trust, transparency for sure, but a lot of professionalism. And as you say, like each of them have to be an SME. There are so many products, like one can be an SME in plotted developments, what can be SME in super luxury. Every everything you need to be an expert so that when you have a client, you really know the game.
So I'll give you a short metaphor story, which is a reality. 2011-12, CREA patented and did its first KYD. So the KYD is what we call the Know Your Developer, where the developer launches a new project or a product line on the CREA platform, specifically to the CREA members first. Of course, the commission advantages and all of that come into the place. I remember from there we started. In 2014, I had one with Total Environment, and Mr. Kamal Sagar walked up the stage, and all he said was, "Samir, when you invited me and when we set this up, I thought I was coming to another broker event. Seeing 300 realtors dressed in three-piece suits and ties and coats and sitting here and asking the kind of questions they're asking, I had no idea I was coming to a world-class event." So, we're glad that we could change the whole perception of the industry over a period of time. And it was no easy task. It called for a tremendous amount of education, knowledge, and stuff going into it. So from there, like you are saying, whether it's plotted, not everybody sells everything. Okay.
Correct.
And which is where the specialization areas come in. Some are great at commercial, some are great at leasing, some are great at residential sales of the affordable and the mid segment, some are very good at luxury living, some are more in East Bangalore, North Bangalore, West Bangalore, you know, varied. And to bring them all on a common unified platform and then create opportunities for everybody. And it worked like a win-win with for the developers also. Everybody started finding value. But I'll tell you, the biggest winner of these associations, without lot many people realizing today, is the end consumer, the buyer in the industry, because they are getting the best advantage and the best of both the worlds because of all this growth on the associations that's coming through.
So well said.
Thank you.
And I think, the end consumer and also the developers too, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
because they need this helping hand. And as you say, it's a win win situation for all.
Absolutely.
Great. This is a question which is very close to my heart too.
Sure.
The Li Lama series, I
Okay.
really enjoy reading them. I wanted to know what motivated you to start that, and what is the motive behind when you share an anecdote on a platform like LinkedIn?
Wow. You said it's close to your heart. You probably the first person, Rekha, who's asked me this question on an open platform, and it's equally close to my heart. So, can I be candid on this response?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I was 16
Okay.
when I lost a family member, a brother in the Indian Army, and I saw the deterioration all around my family in terms of the whole environment. We were all humorous kind of a family and stuff. Those 6 months in my life established one thing in me at a very young age, saying there is so much sadness all around you, there is so much grief all around you. that if you really want to be a change maker in the world, uh, add some happiness quotient around. And trust me, it just became a mission for me to make people smile, to make people laugh. So you take sometimes positives out of the most difficult situations in life. And as I grew up through college and all, I generally became a very humorous guy. And it became a habit. I would say initially I worked on it to make it happen, and then it becomes a part of your natural lifestyle. And then I entered the corporate world like everybody else. And I would say many years I lived bereft of, and it always made me wonder. LinkedIn is full of people. Yeah, they are
Yes.
professionals, and it is a professional platform. The problem in India is, even if you watch comedy, okay, half of them are crass. It crosses the other side. So clean, positive, good humor, there was a dearth of it. And somewhere it became a part of my lifestyle. So I remember there was this small developer who was signing a joint venture agreement, and there was a small developer who was taking it, and a small landlord. I'm calling them small because it was just about, it was a smaller transaction vis-a-vis the large transactions that happen. And somehow this landowner was very, very worried. So even though all the contractual terms were discussed, advances were paid, we are doing the final agreement signing, he would pick up the pen to sign, and then he would say, "What if this doesn't happen? What's the guarantee? What if doesn't happen?" And he did that 4 or 5 times. And I don't know what happened to me. I closed the pen, I closed the paper, and I told him, "Sir, you mind if I tell you something?" He says, "Go ahead." I said, "I've been married 20 years. I go home, my wife is there. What's the guarantee she'll be there for me today?" And they all burst out laughing. He picked up the pen, he just signed it.
Signed.
Because beyond a certain point of time, there are no more things that can be put in an agreement, and you got to go by the trust factor, right? So, what I'm trying to convey here is humor became a part of my lifeline, whether it was doing my own business, whether it was interacting, and it has always, always helped me in very difficult situations. Especially when temperaments are growing in negotiations, or things go wrong between a consumer and a developer, or something like that. Humor helps bring back the normalcy. And then people can think straight and find solutions. So I think it's from there that it originated, way back in 2016, 17. Another thing happened in 2011, 12. Something I asked about social media to my young son, and he says, "Dad, these social medias are not for you. Okay, don't struggle with it." And I was like, another challenge accepted. And I remember 6, 7 years later, he comes and tells me, "Dalai Lama, we can't compete with you. Please do what you have to do." So God has been kind. And I like to learn new things. I like to do it. But more importantly, I believe humor captivates people. It
Absolutely.
opens them up.
Yeah.
you know Actually, I will give this as advice to everybody. When you see somebody crying on your shoulder, somebody really sad, instead of giving them serious advice, make them laugh. The moment they open out, they sort of then find solutions to their own problems more than you can give in terms of your advice. And I saw something by Dalai Lama, and I wanted to write something in a funny and humorous way. So I called it saying, I will write truth in the guise of lies.
Lies.
And that's how the
Lai
Lai
Lama.
Lama came up. And I wrote a couple of posts, and it got so much of traction that it has sort of stuck with me since then, and people know me by that
No, you're truly
sobriquet.
gifted, so keep spreading
Thank
the
you.
joy.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, to wrap up, we are going to come to a very quick rapid fire session.
Wow.
Ready
I
for that?
it's for the first time in my life I feel I'm on a Karan Johar show. Go ahead. I hope the hamper is ready. Go ahead.
Favorite restaurant in Bangalore?
On Church Street. Uh, why am I forgetting the name? It's the uppums and the idiyappams.
The Koshis.
Not the koshis.
The
It's called
Coconut
Coconut Grove.
Grove.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
that's
yes.
my favorite food of late.
Okay. One, I would not say weekend activity, one go to activity that you do when you're not working.
I used to love to play. I watch sports still, uh, but I would say the one go-to activity for me today would be I love playing filling in stocks. So I learn a lot about that.
And you make a lot of money too.
Hopefully someday I will.
One book or movie that has inspired you,
uh, Zindagi Na Milega Dobara.
truly.
Watched it many times. Continues to inspire me.
Continues. If not real estate, what else?
1,000%. If opportunities existed in my time, I think I would have loved to be in the showbiz, in the events, on the stage business, basically. I think I would have definitely liked to go there, um, maybe host shows, maybe be an anchor. But I realized at some point of time that's not going to give me the kind of money that I need. So, which is where real estate became a passion.
One word that describes your work style.
Actually, it's a culture policy in our company that I teach anybody who joins my company on day one. I tell them there is no Nobel Prize invented yet for real estate. There is no bravery award either. Okay, all you're going to get is money and some fame. So, like any other company, our business is to make money, but I add two words: happily and ethically, and that defines my work style. So I could get into an argument with one of my juniors, and an hour later I could also be cracking jokes with them. So I believe happy employees agar nahi honge, you can't have happy customers. So happiness to me is paramount. And ethics, maybe because I come from the defense background, maybe since I go there, in spite of being in real estate industry, I would say I've lost enough opportunities in life where I could have made extra money, but I chose to do that because ethics are paramount. So happily, ethically, doing the work diligently is my work style.
Dream travel destination, especially since you have traveled like 60 countries plus. Which is your dream travel
There is
destination?
enough and more that I've not done. My son has recently been to Masai Mara, so it's
Next
on my, so
bucket
there is
list.
there is a fairly large bucket list still pending, and Dunedin in New Zealand. So yeah, those are the two places
Two
that I would
places.
want to visit next.
One last question. If you could have dinner with one famous person, who will that be?
Always Julia Roberts.
Ah.
Don't ask me why.
Mine is actually Richard Gere.
So there we go. There we go.
So
There we go.
that's
And it's like some of us get stuck where we were at that point of time, in spite of a
true,
lot of
true,
newbies.
true, true.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap. Thank
Thank you
you
so
so
much.
much, Samir, for being a guest and sharing your insights. Thank you, audience, for tuning into our show. I'm sure this has added value uh, to this conversation. And please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Look forward to meeting you next. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rekha. It's been my pleasure and honor being here. Enjoyed interacting with you, and I hope your audience enjoys it too.